Welcome to Honeybee Yoga Studio, where we share yoga videos aimed at yogis of all levels, as well as sharing yoga knowledge. So if that sounds like your thing, please hit the red subscribe button below. We release new videos every week. Well, hi yogis. It is the most beautiful time of year. I absolutely adore the holiday season, and to me, it doesn't matter what you believe in or what you are celebrating, so long as we're all enjoying happiness and peace. A little bit of health would be fantastic in this crazy year that we've been having. So I've put together a fun little Firestarter festive flow. We'll have a few postures to engage through our core, get those legs working, all while giving some love to our hips and our low spine. If you'd like to grab a block or a thick book, something to bring the earth a little bit closer to you throughout your practice, let's grab those, and then we will get started. We'll come to whatever seated posture feels good for us. We're going to feel those sit bones come into the earth nice and heavy. We'll let our arms maybe rest on our thighs or by our sides. Let's take a big inhale, pull those shoulders up to your ears, and as we exhale, let those shoulders and shoulder blades melt down your spine. Let's let our awareness drop into this moment, into this space. Let your thoughts drift away from the outside world, maybe any chores or anything you have waiting for you on the other side of your practice. And instead, we'll let our thoughts settle on our breath and on our body, how we're feeling as we move through our flow. Right now, we'll begin to follow our breath as it travels in through our mouth or nostrils, down our throat, expanding our chest and our belly. Let's take a full exhale. Let that breath go. Let's follow our breath for a few moments here, not making any changes, just feeling all of those sensations as our breath comes and goes. Let's take our next two breaths as deep, as long as we can. Taking in as much oxygen on that big inhale. And then slow and controlled exhale, let it go, maybe through an open mouth. Let's do that one more time. Big inhale, purposefully filling that belly as much as we can before a slow, controlled exhale. Bring those fingertips by our sides, and as we inhale, we'll start to sweep our arms wide and above. Exhaling, bending into our elbows, coming into our cactus arms. Inhaling, bring those hands and elbows, forearms together, a gentle rounding through our spine. And then we'll exhale our arms by the side. So again, inhaling tall. Exhaling wide. Feel that chest move forward as your elbows pull behind you. Then inhale, those hands, forearms, elbows together, rounding your spine, pressing your belly button to your spine. And then exhale by our sides. Let's do that 3 more times at our own pace. Moving as slowly or as vigorously as feels good for our bodies. Feeling that flexion and extension through our spine. Almost like we're doing a cat-cow movement, but while we're seated. After our last active breath here, We can take 1 or 2 breaths in stillness if that feels good. And when we're ready, we're going to roll over our knees, meeting in tabletop. Hands under our shoulders, knees under our hips. The crown of our head pulls to the front of the room as our tailbone pulls behind us. We're going to start to take some full belly rolls here. So we're moving our belly, our spine in big circles, like we're in the middle of a barrel and we need our belly button and our spine to touch all around 360 degrees. And the next time that belly button's reaching towards the earth, let's move in the opposite direction. And as always, moving as your breath says is a good pace. We'll eventually find ourselves coming to stillness. Let's find that left leg to extend long behind us. Bring a bend into that knee. Sole of our foot is going to donkey kick up to the sky. Big inhale, exhale, and press. We're going to do that 4 more times. Pressing that heel high. 2 more times. And that last time, let's hold it up, engaging through our glute. And then let's step that left foot forward, all the way up in between our hands. Maybe shimmy that foot a little bit forward if that feels good. And we'll inhale our hands tall in our low lunge. Exhaling our arms forward into service. Bending into that right elbow. We'll wrap our left underneath, binding through our hands if we can. If not, those fingertips are just reaching towards each other, elbows pulling away from our body. Enjoying our version of eagle arms. Let's take one more big inhale here. Lift those fingertips tall. And then exhale those fingertips wide and back down to the earth. Gonna walk those hands back towards our right knee. That right foot is going to come behind us so that right shin is perpendicular to the long edge of our mat. We'll come up onto that right knee, left knee facing towards the front of our mat, left toes point forwards. Let's take our left forearm and place it to the inside of our left knee. Gonna try to keep those hips side by side, shoulders side by side by pressing that left arm into our left knee. Now we can hang out right here. That right hand maybe rests on our hip, or if it feels good for us, we can start to sink to the left side. It's a pretty generous stretch, so only moving as far as feels good for you. Maybe grabbing a block or a book if that helps. We're gonna stay here for 3 breaths. Optionally, lifting that right hand tall. One more big inhale. And as we exhale, we'll bring both hands to the inside of that left foot. Pivot that right foot behind us. Step that left knee back. And come back into our version of tabletop. This time we'll lift that right knee, right sole of our foot high fives the sky, and we'll donkey kick that right foot up to the sky 5 times. Big inhale and exhale to kick. 4 more times. Exhaling, pressing through that heel. 2 more times. And on that last time, let's keep that heel pressing to the sky. Engage through our glute. Squeeze. And then step that right foot forward. Coming between those hands. We'll keep that back left knee low. And we'll inhale our fingertips tall. Sinking those hips forward. We'll bring our hands to service. This time bending through our left elbow, we'll sweep our right arm underneath, wrapping around, coming into our version of eagle arms. Reaching those elbows away from us, our fingertips lift up to the sky, and those hips melt forward. Let's take one more big breath here. Reach those fingertips, pull those elbows away from our shoulders. Then let's release those hands. Bring our hands to the inside of that right foot and start to walk those hands back towards your left knee. This time that left foot comes behind us. Left shin is now perpendicular to our mat. Let's bring those hands up to our hips. We have those right toes still facing forward. Bend into that right knee. This time our right forearm comes to the inside of that right knee. We'll start to press that forearm into our knee. We can stay right here, hanging out in this generous stretch. Or if we'd like, we can sink into that right knee. You guys are getting an awesome view of my super cool reindeer tights. Thanks, Mom. I know you'll watch this. We can hang out here, or let's lift that left hand into the air for about 3 full breaths. Last breath, we'll take an extra deep inhale, big stretch. And let's release both of those hands to the inside of our right foot. Step that right knee behind us. Let's bring those big toes to kiss. Let our knees go nice and wide. Send our hips to our heels. Walk those hands forward and come into our version of child. That belly and chest are melting to the earth. Maybe our forehead or our chin is resting on our mat. We'll take a few breaths here. Feel that tailbone heavy pulling behind us as your spine lengthens and softens towards the mat. Maybe we feel space coming through our shoulders. One more big breath here. Feel that belly expand. Maybe it presses into your thighs. And then exhale. Let it all go. Our next inhale brings our gaze towards our hands. We'll start to shift our body forward so our shoulders come over those hands. Let's extend those legs behind us, dig those toes into the earth, and lift our legs off of the earth, coming into our version of plank. Of course, anytime we're in plank, you're welcome to drop one or both knees. In our plank, let's take a peek at those fingertips. Maybe we're gripping into the mat with those fingertips. Let's press through our shoulders, through our triceps, so that our neck is lifting away from our shoulders. We aren't kind of dumping through our shoulders or our shoulder blades. Our chest feels full. Let's take 2 more breaths here in our plank. Big inhale and exhale. One more big inhale. This time as we exhale, we're gonna start to shift our hips behind us, pressing through those hands. Our tailbone lifts, and we meet in our version of downwards facing dog. Now I step my toes a couple inches closer to be comfortable in my downwards facing dog. Do whatever you have to do to feel comfortable in yours. Let's walk our dog by pressing one heel towards the earth and bending in our opposite knee and rotating from side to side. Let's take a few breaths here, taking whatever movements or shapes feel good for us to open into our downwards facing dog. Maybe it feels good to take a wiggle from side to side with your hips. Maybe it feels good to shift your weight from side to side or front to back. But eventually, we'll all meet in our neutral downwards facing dog. Those hands are pressing into the earth. That tailbone is pulling behind you. You can have a generous or gentle bend through your knees. We'll bring our gaze up towards our hands, and let's slowly walk those feet all the way up to our hands. We'll inhale our spine to parallel the earth, halfway lift. And then exhale, melting forward and unwinding our spine, coming all the way to standing tall. So that chin lifts, we'll inhale our fingertips up to the sky. And let's take a full body stretch here. Maybe we reach to the right side, feel that left side body open. And then let's reach to the right side. Feel that right side body open. Bringing our hands back down by our sides. Feel those heels underneath our hips. Let's inhale our hands up to the sky. And then exhale, forward fold over long legs, fingertips to the earth. Inhaling into our halfway lift, spine parallels the earth. We'll exhale, plant both of our hands, step back, tall plank. Either dropping to our knees or staying tall, we'll hug those elbows into our sides as we exhale through chaturanga, bringing our belly, our chest to the earth. Keeping those hands where they are, we'll slowly extend our arms as far as feels good to us, coming into our version of cobra. Big inhale at the top, then let's exhale, melt forward. Inhale, press those arms long, lifting back into cobra. Let's do this a few times. Feel some warmth building through our arms, our shoulders. Maybe we feel some space coming into our bellies, our abdomens, that low spine. 2 more times. Inhaling, press those arms long. Maybe our chin lifts. Exhale to lower. Last time, our full expression of cobra. Up dog if that's for you. Taking an inhale at the top. Then we'll exhale, chest back to the earth, tuck our toes, bend our knees, lifting up through downwards facing dog. Taking a few breaths here. Let's reach that right foot high up into the sky. Really press that right heel behind you. Feel that length coming through your leg. And then let's step that right foot forward. Let your left heel fall to the earth. Outer edge of your left foot parallels the back of your mat. Generous bend in that front right knee. Inhale your arms to parallel the earth. Gaze comes forward over our right fingertips. And we meet in our warrior 2. Coming back to that sensation we had earlier with our knee lowered. We want that right knee to almost feel like our hand is there again, pushing it towards the right side of our mat. We don't want it to sink or collapse towards center line. Let's take a big inhale, lift that right hand up to the sky, left hand goes down our left leg. And let's exhale, right hand to our right right forearm to our right thigh. Left hand stays lifted up to the sky. Big inhale. And then as we exhale, left hand sweeps forward, our torso lifts. We come onto those left toes, fingertips up to the sky.
Staying here for a couple of breaths, finding our balance. We're going to flow between our high lunge and our version of Warrior 3 or airplane. Maybe we have our bricks in front of us for a little bit of support if we'd like that. Remember, there's no pressure to look like me or to look like whatever version of Warrior 3 you think it looks like. Take whatever version feels best for your body. So when we're ready, we'll start to get a little spring in our step in our left foot. And eventually those arms will come to parallel the earth. Springing through that left foot, we'll feel our left leg parallel the earth. Coming into our Warrior 3. Staying here for just a breath. We'll let those left toes come back to the earth. Fingertips tall. We're going to do that 3 more times at our own pace. Hanging out in Warrior 3 for a full breath before bringing those toes back and coming back to our tall lunge for a full breath. Maybe experimenting with our arms, doing something that feels different each time, or maybe doing the same thing, whatever feels good. And then on our last Warrior 3, we're going to start to shift our weight so that our right hand can come down towards the earth. I'm bringing my right hand towards a block because the earth is too far away for me. I'm going to start to feel that left hip stack atop my right as my pelvis, my chest opens to the left side. That left leg remains tense, that heel pressing away, and I open into my version of half moon. Maybe that left hand reaches up to the sky. Now, of course, our only festive pose, or at least the only one I could think of, is candy cane. So from our half moon, maybe we bring a bend into that left knee, and that left hand reaches towards our left foot. Maybe we make the bind from our foot to our hand, pressing that foot into our hand. That left hip, left shoulder continues to stack on top of our right. Wherever we are in our version of half moon or candy cane, let's take one more full inhale. And then as we exhale, we'll release that connection if we have it. Left toes come to the earth. Let's bring our fingertips to the earth. Step back with our right foot, coming all the way back to our downwards facing dog. Walking our dog, we'll take a few shimmies, a few shakes, whatever feels good before we move to the opposite side. So this time we'll lift our left foot, that left heel reaching to the wall behind us. When we're ready, let's step that left foot forward. Right heel comes to the earth. Warrior 2 legs, generous bend in that front left knee. Inhaling our arms to parallel the earth. Gaze comes out, that front left fingertip. And we're in our Warrior 2. Sinking into that front left knee. Once again, we want to feel that left knee kind of pulling to the left side of the room. We'll inhale our left hand up to the sky. Right hand goes down our right leg. Eventually that left forearm will come to our left thigh. Right arm reaches tall. Big inhale. And as we exhale, that right arm's going to sweep forward. Our torso lifts, our right heel lifts. We lift our fingertips to the sky. And once again, we're in our tall lunge. So just like the opposite side, we're going to flow between our high lunge and between our Warrior 3 or our airplane. So maybe think about how our opposite side went. Think about if we need any supports. And we'll get ready to get a little bounce, a little spring in our step in that right foot. And we'll begin to shift from our lunge, bringing that right leg to parallel the earth, coming into our warrior three, our airplane. Staying for a breath before bringing that right foot back to the earth, fingertips tall. Let's do that 3 more times. And as always, at our own pace, doing what feels good for us. And inviting a little bit of a challenge, a little bit of a fire maybe is starting in those thighs and our legs. Eventually, we'll make our way to our last warrior three, and we're gonna hang out here for several breaths. Now again, we can stay in our warrior three, or if you'd like to move towards half moon, that left hand is going to come towards the earth. Once again, I'm using a block. The earth's a bit too far away for my short arms. That right leg is paralleling the earth, pulling to the back of the room. And this time our right hip, our right shoulder is stacking atop our left. Coming into our festive yoga posture. If you'd like to come into candy cane, we're gonna bend into that right knee, reaching that right hand behind us. We're gonna see if we can connect with that right foot. And if we have, we're pressing that foot into our knee. Pressing our foot into our hand. If you can press your foot into your knee, that would be impressive. As that knee lifts up to the sky. Now again, you might be in warrior three. You might have both hands down, maybe a foot's down. Whatever works for you, whatever you can have fun with in this festive little flow. We'll take one more big inhale. And then as we exhale, we'll release. That right toe comes back to the earth. Those hands come to the inside of that left foot. We're gonna step our left foot behind us, this time coming into our tall plank once again. Now last time, I tried to distract you by looking at our fingertips, but I don't think I can think of anything that can distract us this time. So instead, we're going to lower down onto our forearms, press those elbows, those forearms, those hands into the earth. Keep that spine long, hips parallel to the earth. Big inhale, and then we'll exhale. Lower those hips, low belly, chest. Let's stack our fists or our hands and bring our chin or our forehead to lower. If our awareness has drifted away from our practice, we'll bring that awareness back to our breath. Maybe you're like me and you need to catch your breath. Feel your belly and your chest press into the earth beneath you. Feel those long, heavy legs. And give yourself permission for a few breaths to just release, relax. After we feel that breath, our heart rate come back to its natural cadence, we'll use one of our next inhales to give our toes, our fingertips a little bit of a wiggle. Eventually we'll slide those hands underneath our shoulders. Bending through our knees, we'll lift up through tabletop. Let's tuck our toes underneath our heels. Take a big inhale and lift those knees off of the earth. Pressing through those arms, we have our shoulders stacked above our hands. Let's take a big inhale. Then as we exhale, we'll lengthen our legs while walking those feet up to our hands. We're going to let our feet go wide, about as wide as maybe our mat is. Those knees go wider than our heels. Let's start to sink our tailbone behind us, squatting down into our version of malasana, or deep squat. Now, if the earth's too far away, you can always grab a couple blocks, a cushion, or a pillow to place behind you so you can kind of rest on the pillow to give your thighs a little bit of a break. Once you're in your version of malasana squat, we can keep those fingertips on the earth for some balance. Maybe it feels good to bring our hands into prayer, press those elbows into our knees, give those hips, those inner thighs, a nice stretch. While we hang out here for a couple breaths, I'll encourage you to tuck your tailbone, even if it's just a micro movement of tucking your tailbone a little bit closer to the earth so that your shoulders can stack a little bit better above those hips. Crown of your head reaches tall. This makes it into a bit more of an active posture, feeling those muscles engage around our hip flexors. Let's take 2 more long breaths here. Now from here, we're going to start to shimmy our feet a little bit closer to one another. Maybe your hands come to the earth in front of you so you can lengthen your legs behind you. And bring those feet to be about hip distance apart. Going to keep those hands pressing into the earth. We're going to move into our arm balance, crow, while we're here. So we'll come back towards our squat, very narrow this time with our knees pointing forwards. We're going to start to come up onto our toes so we can press those knees almost into our armpits, into our triceps. Pressing into our hands, we're going to keep our elbows pulling to the wall behind us while our shoulders press to the wall in front of us. We're going to start to stack our elbows over top of the heels of our hands and bring our shoulders, our triceps to parallel the earth. Now, if you'd like to grab a pillow or a cushion to come in front of your forehead, go for it. You can grab a block even to come under your shoulders for some extra help. And then once we're here, you can see if you can start to lift one toe, maybe the opposite toe, and see what version of crow feels good for you. Maybe both toes stay on the earth. Maybe you can lift both. Either way, let's take about 4 breaths here, 4 to 6 breaths, to play around in our version of crow. And again, if you'd like, you can always use your block on its tallest setting. Bring that forehead towards your block so you can get a bit more of a stability if you're worried about tipping forward. Eventually, we'll all have tired arms from working on our crow. So let's walk our hands forward so our knees can come into the earth. Walk those knees behind us so we can come back onto our bellies. Walk those fingertips forward so we can have our elbows come under our shoulders. Now we're going to press through our toes so we can lift our knees. And we're going to start to lift our right knee to come out towards the side. So kind of like a frog, we're going to have that right knee lifting towards our right elbow. That right shin is parallel or on top of the long edge of our mat. Let's keep those hands where they are. We're going to start to lengthen our arms and walk our hands towards our belly. So in our half frog, we're lifting through our belly, our chest. As always, only going as far, pressing those arms only as far as feels good for you. Let's take one more breath while we're lifted, and then we'll slowly release back to the earth. Let's let that right leg lengthen behind us. And then we'll start to shimmy that left knee to open to the left side. Again, just like a frog with that shin parallel to our mat. And you can hang out here if this feels great for you. Or we can start to walk our hands towards our hips and start to lift through our chest and our abdomen. So kind of like we're in crow, but we have our left leg open to the left side. Let's take another big inhale here before we exhale and melt back down. Now this time we're gonna keep that left leg right where it is, and we're going to add on our right leg. Now as that right knee opens to the side, you might find your left knee is losing a little bit of its mobility, or your left hip rather, and that's perfectly fine. We're just gonna open our knees wide to the side, shins paralleling our mat, as far as feels good for us, into our full expression of frog. Let's let those hands stack, or those fists stack, and bring our chin or our forehead to come to rest. Let's stay here for 4 to 6 breaths and really send that inhale, send that space all the way down to your pelvis, to those hip flexors. And as you exhale, release some of that muscle tension and allow your pubic bone to melt a little bit closer to the earth. Let's take that last inhale, extra deep. Feel your belly pressing against the earth. Then exhale, letting that breath go. We'll start to wiggle from side to side so that we can bring our legs long behind us. Let's keep those knees bent, soles of our feet up towards the sky. And we'll just gently allow our feet to fall wide away from each other and then crisscross towards each other. And we'll do that a few times, kind of like we're kids watching cartoons. Maybe we were kids watching the animated Grinch movie. It's that time of year. Letting those feet go side to side. And then we'll allow them to come through stillness. And let's take a really fancy yoga transition to literally just roll onto our spines, aka the barrel roll. We'll roll all the way so that our spine comes into the earth. We'll allow the soles of our feet to come into the earth, our knees to bend. Maybe those heels come a little bit closer to our sit bones than they naturally fall. Our arms come by our side. Let's take a big inhale, press through those feet, feel a long spine. And as we exhale, we're gonna lift our hips away from the earth. Engage through those glutes, feel your knees almost like they wanna be drawn towards each other. Let's take a big inhale. And exhale, release back to the earth. We're gonna do that again, but this time we're going to stay lifted for several breaths. So again, big inhale for strength, exhale, press those heels tall. Now, if you'd like, those fingertips may wander towards each other. Maybe you feel your shoulder blades, your triceps kind of tucking underneath your body so that your chest, your belly can lift even further. If you'd like to go into the full expression of wheel, we'll feel those hands come beside our ears, our wrists pressing towards the wall behind us, elbows press towards the wall behind us. And then we'll press long through our arms to lift into our wheel. Let's see if my headset will come with me. Oh, it did. Lifting into your version of wheel. Keep those elbows drawn towards each other, same with your knees. One last big breath. In bridge, in wheel, wherever you are. And then slowly on the exhale, we'll release that spine back to the earth. Bring our knees into our chest. Big hug. Rock from side to side. Let's let that left leg go long. Keep that right knee pulling towards your right armpit. Lengthen your foot to reach up to the sky. Walk that right hand up to your shin or all the way to the outside of your right foot. Coming into half happy baby. That left hand will come to our left thigh, our left hip. Keep that left hip heavy as we pull that right knee, right foot to the outside of our right rib cage. Let's take a big inhale. And exhale. We're going to bring that left knee back above our hip. We're going to bring our right foot to come just below that left knee. Reach those hands around our left thigh. And we're going to pull that left knee towards our chest. Maybe we lengthen that left leg. Let's take one more breath here. Exhale. That left sole of our foot comes to the earth, keeping our right leg right where it is. That right sole of our foot is going to come to the earth as well. So we're getting a rotation through our spine. Maybe our left hand comes atop of that right thigh. And maybe our gaze comes out our right shoulder. We'll take one more breath here before we bring both knees back up into our chest. This time lengthening our right leg, long and heavy, coming into our half happy baby on the left side. That left hand pulling that left knee towards our left armpit, the outside of our left rib cage. Again, if that foot's too far away, no big deal. We can use our left hand behind the crook of our left knee or maybe on our left shin. After our next breath, we'll bring a bend into that right knee. Our left ankle comes just below that right knee. Taking our hands around that right thigh, let's pull that right thigh, right leg towards our body. Maybe lengthening that right foot or that right leg. Let that right foot come back to the earth. And this time our left foot will fall all the way to the right side. That left foot coming into the earth. This time that right hand may come atop your left thigh or hold on to that left ankle. And maybe your gaze comes out that left shoulder. Our final twist, our final rotation through our spine. As we wind down our practice, bring those thoughts, that awareness back to your breath, your body, this moment. Let's release that left leg, bringing both knees into our chest for one last big hug. Rock from side to side. Now, if you'd like to complete your practice in Shavasana with long legs and heavy arms, go for it. But I'm actually going to suggest coming into a restorative legs up. So if you have a chair, a couch, or a bed, you can bring your hips, your sit bones as close as you can towards the base of that object, or alternately towards the baseboard of a wall. And we're going to swing our legs to come tall up the wall, or to softly bend at our knees and have those legs rest atop our couch, our bed, or a chair. Wherever we are, we feel that low spine pressing into the earth. We feel our arms come wide like a T. Those feet, those shins feel weightless. And our awareness begins to settle back within our body. Feeling that breath travel. For the next 8 to 10 breaths, we'll enjoy stillness and silence in whatever version of legs up you have taken. And maybe our mind stays connected to our breath and feels it flowing through our body. Or maybe we allow ourselves to maybe daydream a little bit and think about your favorite parts of this time of year, regardless of what's going on or what's happening this year. What brings your heart warmth? What excites you? What do you look forward to this time of year? Whatever that is, we'll start to connect with those feelings and those memories and enjoy several breaths. Let's take those last 2 breaths here, as slow and as deep of an inhale as we can, with as slow and controlled of an exhale. We'll let those knees begin to bend and come back towards our chest and our belly. Let's roll onto our favorite side, coming into a little ball. Again, taking our time, as much time as we need. Let's lift our torsos.
Swing those legs in front of us. And come into whatever seated posture feels good for us to close our practice. Let's bring those fingertips by our side. Take a big inhale, sweeping our arms wide, sucking up all that positive energy we've created before exhaling, pressing those hands down towards the earth. Let's do that one more time. Big inhale. This time our gaze maybe looks up as our hands come to meet in prayer, and they melt down to our heart. And closing our practice, we'll take a big breath and a bow for ourselves and for the time that we've spent together. Well, thank you so much, yogis, for joining me for our fun little festive flow. I hope you feel fantastic and ready to take on whatever the holidays have in store for you this year. And remember, even if it looks a little bit different, new traditions, changing traditions, let's all try to remember we survived 2020, we're going to survive 2021, and that's what matters. If you like this video, please give us a thumbs up. Maybe leave in the comments down below what you're looking forward to the most in 2021. And until next time, take care. We'll see you then. Bye.